How do we identify what is my bigger purpose of?
We are humans. We look at recognition. We look at materialistic things. We are so mechanical. If you don't get good grades, you'll not get a good job. If you don't get a good job, you'll not have enough money. You'll not find a good partner. The relationship is what? Two people. And two people are contributing to it. It is not one giving 100%, other giving 10%.
The divorce rates are going high.
We all are rushing, right? A breakup happens. You want to have a partner in next day.
Hey, hi, and thank you for tuning in. Life is what you make it. Lot of quotes on it. Life is what you dream about it. Life is all about your affirmations and manifestations. So many to go ahead for. But are we really content with life? Do we have a fulfillment in our life? To answer this and many more, we have our eminent guest with us, Mr. Gagandeep Siidhu. He's often known to the world as VitaminG. Too curious to know what is this G about? Let's have him on our platform. Hi Gagandeep.
Hi.
And thank you for honoring us.
Thank you, Surbi, for having me.
First thing first.
Yeah.
VitaminG. What is it all about? Initial head or there's something bigger behind it?
No, I think it's always about the small things. That's what I believe. So I go way back in 2018, 2019, right? So, while we are getting aware about our physical health, right? So we were thinking that, okay, we need vitamin D as supplement, you need B12, we need omega. And in last 7-8 years, people have got more aware about it, or 10 years back, right? So I was just, having a cup of coffee, sitting in a cafe, and of course, thinking about how life can move forward, what can we do. And then I realized that, okay, we all have some things for our body, right? But there has to be a supplement, which needs to be your daily dose of positivity. So that's where I connected my initials. So VitaminG, Vitamin Gagan, or you can say Vitamin Gratitude, or anything which suits you. And that's where when I was sharing my information as a coach, or sharing daily dose of positivity. So that's where the name came in playfully, but it was very well received by the audience. That if you are feeling, overwhelmed, you're not feeling great, you come to my channel, you come to my social media handles, you will get your daily dose of positivity. So that's where VitaminG came in, and we got a lot of love and recognition for the same. And just
Inception. Really must say, wonderful inception. At times, we sit I follow the series Table of One. So when we sit individually, we introspect a lot. And I'm just saying how it started for you. How did this law of attraction, manifestation, positivity, being a motivational speaker, and being that positive aura you carry for yourself?
Thank you.
How did this start, and how are you helping people?
So this started, almost a decade back, 2014, 2015. So of course, I got to learn about law of attraction in 2013. And believe me, that was the darkest phase of my life, because health, relationships, money, or anything that you say, the work, nothing was going well. And like so many people, I was also just rushing after the corporate ladder, that this happens, I get this designation, I get this amount, then life will get better. But it was already 10 years into the corporate world. So I was thinking that 10 years I've been rushing for this, and life is not getting better, because we all think we will get this designation, you'll get X amount of money, you will feel good. You might feel that, okay, I have arrived in life. So I realized if this has not happened in 10 years, I'm sure next 30 years, if I keep working, the feeling would be the same, right? And while I was in my darkest phase, so of course I got to know about the book, The Secret, read a lot about it. And since I was in depression also at that point of time, so earlier my self-talk was, why is it happening to me? Why is it happening to me? Why is the world against me? Why are my family not supporting me? Why are finances not working out? Why are my bosses against and not promoting me? So I was stuck in that loop. But once I started to learn about law of attraction, how's the power of your self-talk, how you can change your thoughts, so I started applying it. So 2 years I introspected, I started changing my self-talk. I got to learn about my own patterns. That why is it happening to me? I had to shift it to, what can I do, from this situation? Why me to try me, And that's where the change started to happen. But it was just a starting point. And believe me, when I'm sitting here and talking to you, I have been an introvert throughout my life.
Is it?
Yes. And now, of course, two TED Talks, Josh Talks, and of course, this amazing podcast which are happening. So if I go back and look at my younger self back then, I don't believe that I'm here now. But that's where the seeds started to sow in my mind, that I decided, what do I want out of my life? So those 2 years, they were very difficult, but I think they changed me for good. So I started applying law of attraction. Initially, like everybody thinks it's all about techniques. But after 2-3 years, I realized it's not about techniques. It's about how you change your inner self, how you align with what you actually want of your life. So those 2 years set the foundation for my life. And then once I healed myself, 2016 something, and things started to get better. Relationships, money, bonding with family, bonding with friends, the work situation started to get better. I started manifesting jobs, international travels, a lot of things. But that's when I realized that, it took me 2 years, Ruby, to heal myself. And while I was in UK, Europe, I was there, but I learned about life coaching there. I learned about counseling there. So then I was again, a cup of coffee can make a lot of difference. I was sitting by the Thames and having a coffee. And then I realized that it took me 2 years to heal myself. And I connected that there'll be people like me who need help, who are struggling somewhere silently. And they would need this help. But they don't want to go to a mental health counselor, to a psychiatrist, to a psychologist. They're well aware, they're well, made professions. But in all the countries, there's a taboo around it, right? That you have a mental health issue. So that's where life coaching, was evolving back then. And I met a lot of coaches there. I met a lot of counselors there. I got certifications. But then when I started to apply this into my life, it just, started to get there slowly and gradually. And I started meeting people, and believe me, when the universe is aligned with you, I got to learn about so much from people that I would have never believed they will come and help me, right? Just I'm saying, I'm sitting here, I'm talking, I don't believe it. So the people who came into my life taught me, guided me, vanished like an angel, right? So I'm grateful to all of them. So that's where, when I came back, I took 1.5 years to understand myself, because coaching others is a good skill set, but it's also a two-edged sword, right? If you have your own healing is not done, so you can, damage the other person. So then 2018, I took a leap of faith, and I started, working as a coach, as a life coach and a counselor. Then, of course, I'm into cognitive behavioral therapy, neuro-linguistic programming, and, the universe started to respond. So many people who wanted help. And the journey started, and today here we are. And all that I wrote 10 years back on a journal is, I'm sure, most of usse zyada hi manifest ho gaya hoga, I'm sure. It has been, universe has been kind, it has given us more than what I desired. So now when I look back my old journals from 2014 or 16, I literally get tears of joy that here we are. And it's been blissful journey. And of course, long journey, but I learned a lot about myself in this journey. And that's where people started getting connected. People started getting, those inspiration. And with every success, of people healing themselves, made me feel better as a human being, not a professional, as a human being. Because, end of the day, when after 2 months, somebody comes and tells me with, tears of joy, "Oh, Gagan, you added value to my life. This just changed my entire way of thinking." I think that feeling is priceless.
I understand. I totally understand and, resonate with this. And I'm sure, it's a pat on your back for yourself, from yourself, that you've covered that big leap and the big journey you've taken over. But what was there, what you were not doing And what was that, what you started doing? That if we can have it to 2 words or 2 lines, just to simplify it for our audience to understand what you were not doing and what you started doing, which made this transition.
So I think what I was not doing was not believing in the universe, the goodness this world has to offer, because of the life experiences, belief system, whatever you see. Came from a small town, understood life. What I was not doing, or what I was doing wrong, I would say, like I said, I was like blaming myself. I was living in a survival mode, right? So when I made that shift, or started making that shift, we're still making that shift, right? From a survival mode to a creator mode. That whatever I want, first of all, I need to be very clear about what do I want. Whatever I desire, what I want, I'm the creator. I can create it. So moving from a survival mode to an abundance mode is something which changed all. So it was earlier always about, why is it happening to me? Life is not good, life is not fair. He or she has more money. So that was a comparison. So that survival stopped. The abundance started, that I started looking at, okay, how my life is good. What qualities do I have? How can I add value to the universe or the world? So that survival to abundance shift made a big change.
That's very rightly said. If your own cup is empty, you cannot fill up anybody else's. So the first thing what you started was filling up your own cup, healing yourself. Yeah. When we talk about, I think ownership is what you meant by taking ownership of everything, what you were responsible for your own life into creating. Fulfillment has lost its meaning somewhere, I feel.
Yes.
Earlier people, even I remember as a child, we were quite fulfilled.
Yeah.
But now we see children, we see people in all ages feel very unfulfilled with their life. What is the reason you identify when you network, when you train, coach, be with people? Do you identify, okay, this is the basic reason that our audience should start imbibing, implementing, that life is beautiful?
It is, indeed.
So what is the difference you see from 15, 20 years before and now?
I think it's still a constant fight within yourself, right? Because we are humans, right? And we look at recognition, we look at materialistic things. And because it's been since childhood made a part of our system, education system, right? If you don't get good grades, you'll not get a good job. If you don't get a good job, you'll not have enough money, you'll not find a good partner, and you will suffer throughout the life, right? So that's the reason most of the people I work with, between age of 35 to 50, so after they achieve all their materialistic things, then they start to look at the bigger purpose of life, that what are we actually doing? But to answer you that this chase of materialistic pleasure, or accumulating wealth, accumulating experiences, is because that's part of the system now, right? Because nobody's going to talk about your energy, nobody's going to talk about your aura, nobody's going to talk about your wisdom. And perhaps, like as you said, the childhood was simpler in our times, right? That's the reason you would see our grandparents, when you talk to them, and they were wise because they had seen life. They have covered all aspects of life: money, losing people, new birth, all that. So that leads to wisdom, and hence they are so calm and relaxed. But today, as soon as a child is born, the pressure of parents, of society is imbibed onto that child. So a 7-year-old was just like a sponge, right? So whatever they consume, not just by words, whatever is happening around there in the society, what the parents are talking, so it becomes that, okay, everybody starts thinking that, okay, if I'm at a designation, if I'm earning X amount of money, I will be respected. So that perception and belief system leads to this endless chase.
It's a trap.
It's a trap. Yeah.
And we all are into this trap.
Yes.
In Mahabharata, we've heard about that Chakravyuh, which we enter, but there's no exit to it.
Absolutely.
It's a struggle to come out of it. Few people, make out their struggle to come out, but a lot of them are struggling in it. are we leading a very conscious life, what we say, and we give it to our children as well? Making them particular about at the age when they are 6 or 7, making them conscious to everything they're doing. That's eradicating happiness from love.
No, I think it's not about the conscious thing. If we all are conscious, then I think we'll be all aware, right? So all this is happening subconsciously, right? The example you gave in the starting, that life is beautiful in itself, right? Today you and I are breathing, we are inhaling, exhaling. So all that sometimes people are doing is they want to inhale. Inhale in the sense, as a metaphor, they want to accumulate. But life is what? You have to inhale, you have to exhale. So if you are accumulating, you are receiving, you have to give also. It can be money, love, attention, care. And it's not the conscious choice people are making. It's a subconscious choice, that they are making. People are not even aware of what they're doing. So if, as an example, a 6-7-year-old, right? What their parents are doing subconsciously. That, okay, we should be at X amount of money, we should have X car, we should have a house this big, living in a good society, and our child should go to a very big school. So what has happened, the subconsciously, they're not aware, but they are part of the system. Because if they are not part of the system, their child will be rejected. They will be rejected. That you're not a good parent, you're not doing enough for your kids. So, point is, if they become conscious, then life becomes easier. But it's all happening subconsciously. And my example, 10 years back, I was not aware what I'm doing. You get up, you go to work, you do work, you get money, you party, you do things, travel. But it's all happening subconsciously. Because I was traveling the world, I was finding happiness. Maybe I'll go to, London, I'll find happiness. Maybe I'll meet X person, I'll find happiness. Maybe I'll go to this 5-star, I'll find happiness. But that happiness is not a destination. So perhaps subconsciously, what everybody is doing is leading to an impact. And for some people, they will never get awakened. For some people who seek help, they are trying to live a conscious life. That even if I'm sipping this water, I'm conscious about sipping this water. What is the texture of water? How is it, quenching my thirst? But because we have cell phones, we have so much internet, I am sure so many people who are watching this, they might be watching this while having food.
99%.
Right?
99%.
So we may not even remember what did we eat yesterday. Because we were not conscious about what we are doing. We are so mechanical, and that's scary rather, for the future generations which are coming.
You said people to seek help. Help is taken or, seeked when you feel you need it, correct? But we do not at times make out. There's a hustle.
Yes.
I make out a hustle, but I do not know what is it. So those temporary happiness what you've turned, like going out, taking a destination drive, or going on a luxury holiday, that satiates the need, it suppresses it. But then we come back again. After 3 months, then I get the hustle again.
Yeah.
How do we identify what is my bigger purpose of life?
That's a very good question, Survi. But I think the answer to it is too big. But I think we can at least give a thought to the audience, right? So one is that, like I said, if people are waiting for Saturday, right? Let's forget about holidays, So many people work and they're looking forward to Friday. That Saturday, they don't have to work. They don't have to work. And Sunday evening, most of the people get anxiety that, oh, it's going to be Monday again. We have to go back to work again, right? So first is that the life is perfect in itself, right? So if you think that this is my karma, this is my job that I have to do, just because I have to earn money, I have to pay for my food, pay for the rent, that's all. But people are, so busy in comparing, right? So it's in every single moment you can make that conscious choice that I'm happy today. What do I need today? Am I breathing? Do I have a good luxury house to live in, or a house? Forget about luxury house. Do I have air conditioners? Do I have 3 times food? Congratulations, you're living in the top 20% of the world, right? That's where the power of gratitude comes in picture. When I said VitaminG, you can use G as a gratitude also. Because if you're not grateful for what you already have, you'll never pause. And then what happens, like I said, people will get burned out. So somebody burns out at 25, somebody burns out at 35, somebody at 50, because they're constantly chasing something outside them. And hence it's very important to understand the power of now and start changing your life. And if somebody thinks about what is the purpose of life, it's not an answer that you'll get to overnight.
It's an everyday retrospection.
Absolutely. 10 years back, when I asked this question for the first time to myself, what is the purpose of life? The answer my inner self gave me was, have X amount of money, have X this, 5 criteria which most of us have. If I ask people, what do you want in life? There are 5 cliche answers. That a big house, a big car, a good job, a good wife or a husband, kids studying abroad, a world trip. And then when I ask them, okay, what else? What after 10 things or experiences? That's where people get stuck. And that's where the purpose comes into picture. That you have to introspect. Like I said, first we become conscious that, okay, what am I doing? Why am I into this podcast? What I'm trying to tell people, right? That's the consciousness. What am I eating? Why am I eating? Why do I like to drink? Why do I like to go and drive? Why do I like to meet people? So you start becoming aware about yourself. That's the conscious stage. And then you can start finding your purpose. And it can be different for different people. 5 years back, my purpose was, as I think now, is to be, world's, greatest public speaker. But now when I look at today, as of today, my purpose is that I want to heal 1 million people. Because I'm not healing 1 million people. I'm maybe healing 5 million families, right? Because one person healing impacts the 10 people around them. So maybe 5 years back, my purpose is that, okay, I've done enough for the world. I want to just, introspect, work on my chakras, work on my, low profile life, go live a good natural, understanding the power of now. So I think the journey people has to start, if not now, maybe a couple of years down the line, because as we are getting into, futuristic AI, so much social media, so much of peer pressure. But till the time you sit with yourself, maybe for 15 minutes every day without phone, you will start getting that sense of, consciousness.
So basically, it's knowing yourself.
Absolutely.
Decoding it. We talk a lot about universe, alignment, attunement. Manifestation has been, it's not a topic which is seeded today. It has been ancestral.
Absolutely.
Yeah, the dynamics have been changing. I hear a lot of people. We start with relationships.
Sure.
The biggest thing, we run on 4 major pillars: finance, relationships, your own self, and the people around.
Absolutely.
The relationships, people, the burst out, the burnout, or unsatisfaction from people. That is, the divorce rates are going high.
Absolutely.
The rates are going high. We see the media overcrowded with things which are not even to be consumed on the legal aspects and all.
Absolutely.
It is changing into it. And what will be your suggestion how we can change that mindset of people?
Well, I think to start this, again, it all starts with inner self, right? What I see in youth and people nowadays, we all are rushing, right? A breakup happens, you want to have a partner in next day, right? Or not heal that what went wrong, and it's about the blaming, which I was also doing, right? That, oh, that person did that to me. But you have to take a pause that, okay, relationship is what, 2 people? And 2 people are contributing to it. It is not one giving 100%, other giving 10%. It's about sometimes, one will give 50, one will give 30, depending on the situation of life. So I think first and foremost is to understand, as an example, that a breakup happened. You take a pause, rather than just blaming X person, think of it that how you could have made that better. How could you have saved that relationship? Okay, things were not meant to be. But what people are doing, they're rushing into the next one. Take another shoulder, because it's so difficult in today's world to stay alone. And people want to avoid that. That's the problem. They want to avoid being alone, or alone with their own thoughts, or to know the self. And that's where the question, when you originated, the universe alignment. Because if you don't know yourself, you can't sit with yourself for half an hour and you're picking a phone, you're chatting, you're calling because you'll go, I'm feeling anxious, I just had a breakup, I want somebody to be there. So that's the first point, where you stop blaming, you start analyzing consciously, seek help, if wanted. Otherwise, get aware about what are you doing. Why do you need a relationship, first of all?
That's a very big thing.
Right? Because you see that you're in school and college, in our time, right? It was like we were so scared of our parents, right? And nowadays, if you're in a class 11th, you don't have a girlfriend and a boyfriend, you just looked upon like, okay, you're not good enough, right? And it's a societal pressure. There's no rule book which says that you have to be, right? And that's where the people get into pressure and they get into wrong relationships which are not compatible, because as a 15-year-old, you don't know anything about life. You don't know anything about your own self. So when that first breakup happens, and then so many people come and tell me, I have trust issues, Gagan, help me resolve them. So the first thing is that you have to stop saying that you have trust issues, because there can be deep-rooted issues around your childhood. Maybe you saw your parents fighting. Maybe you saw, okay, our parents had a love marriage and you saw they're not gelling well, they're yelling at each other, getting angry. And hence, the pattern becomes part of their life. And hence they think, okay, shouting, anger, or in some cases, abusive and physical harming is considered normal for people, because that's what they've seen since childhood.
A lot of people we see have repetitive patterns of having the same type of partner.
Absolutely.
So might be one reason you said, because you're not healed properly, you don't know your why do you need, and you shoulder, you just lean on another person, and then you end up in the same years. What is important for us to know when you say we are not connecting with the universe, we don't want to sit alone, are we scared of answering our own self?
Absolutely, yes. I think that's the most important part of life. If you look at end of the day, you may earn, for example, 1 crore rupees by duping somebody, right? You don't deserve it, but you've got it by duping somebody. But end of the day, are you able to answer yourself that, oh, I cheated somebody? And that's the reason people avoided confrontation. And perhaps that's the reason Buddha says, everything is inside, sit with yourself, sit with your thoughts. So what we have done with this advanced information or overload of information, you pick up, social media, so much information is flowing. So it is about that the thoughts that we have created, it's just that we've consumed it, but we have not done some action planning around it. The question that you asked, that are we scared to sit with ourselves? Yes, maybe. In some cases, like some people think, okay, isolation. Oh, I spend a lot of time with myself. No, that's not also sitting with yourself. Sitting with yourself means that you're observant of what you're doing. You are not your thoughts. You are observant of your thoughts. But some people associate that I have these thoughts. I'm a good person, bad person. But thoughts, there are 60,000 thoughts you get in a day. Every single human being gets 60,000. So you can't control them. And you can't identify yourself that because I had this thought, I'm a bad person. I had this thought. So that's the reason so much of rage comes out of people.
Okay.
So isolation is not sitting with yourself. Sitting with yourself is maybe different people have different ways of it. I journal, to identify, okay, why am I doing this? Why did I get angry on someone 5 years back? So I have to identify, question myself.
Gonna tell me one thing. What I take away from this entire conversation, sitting with ourselves, that's my personal. That when you said it's not about finding your good thoughts and bad thoughts, but we are too much of over contemplation with our own thoughts, judging our own self.
Yes.
Yeah, and that is how we fear that not to better to avoid it. Is that what I can say? Is
Yes. I think for that I'll refer to the law of nature, which is change, right? So if you're sitting with yourself, and you anticipate that, oh, this is what I could have done better. But the irony is, in our professional life, we'll do that, right? That we're recording this, for example, podcast. So you and I will know, okay, next time I need to do this better, right? But in personal lives, people don't focus on that. I get to hear that, oh, I'm like this only.
rigidity.
Unacceptance to change, right? And change is the law of nature, right? There are different seasons, there are different ways of living life. If you're not as healthy at 60 as you were at 25. So when people start sitting with themselves, accepting that change, that now I need to change for my own self, not for somebody else, that's where the change begins. And like you said, there's so many people who are not even aware that they will need a coach or they need a help, right? But because they've not sat with themselves, that's where the inner child healing, the universe within us, that will heal. But yes, first of all, you have to be acknowledging that what is it that I need to fix? Is it the relationship ended because of me? What should I avoid going forward? And in power of now, that's what I keep saying. In power of now, you and I are completely healthy right now. The problems you and I have maybe in the past or in the future, but in this very moment, anybody who's watching this, there's no problem that we have. You're breathing. You have, you have the phone or laptop or TV that you're watching this podcast. You have most of the things that people are, willing to live.
No, correct. That's right. Breathing is, I think, somewhere considered as a very underrated thing now. That okay, you're breathing well, you're moving well, you have everything with you. Gratefulness, certainly. When they talk about relationships, especially in the youth, not in the youth, now I see even in the midlife,
Yeah.
people raising their bars or being very unsatisfied. And if you go and tell them, okay, do this type of affirmation, a lifestyle change, or the change of this thing, they say we've done everything.
Yeah.
Affirmations do not work. What you've been saying or journaling, is it a process? That the alignment, when we say, we make those visual boards and everything, how do you advocate to break one pattern for having a healthy life or healthy relationship?
Okay, that's a very interesting question. I think I get asked this a lot of times, right? The first I usually tell people is that it is not about blindly following an affirmation or some technique that you want to follow, right? Because it's all connected with your worth, self-worth, okay? And there are 3 different ways of how we live our life. One is that some people have a visual memory, some people have an auditory memory, some people have a kinesthetic memory. So if you have a visual memory and I start telling, okay, so we start doing affirmations, it may or may not work with you because your mind is mapped with something like that. If I tell you, okay, you start doing visualization with these practices, with some guidance, it's more likely to give results because that's your memory type. And there have been examples that I've done counseling to people, and just finding out what is their memory type. Okay, a very simple and a very good example that I saw was I was counseling a couple, and they were like married for good 25, 30 years almost, right? And they came to that, we want to get separated. We have done enough. Our kids are now grown up. We were waiting for this day. We don't want to stay with each other. So I sat with them separately. The husband said that, okay, that I have done whatever she wanted. I always said I love you to her, gave her flowers, It's been 30 years, after 30 years, who cares? He said, I've been doing that for last 30 years. And she is not grateful about it. And I've given her foreign trips because they were like, in big designations. And then I met with the wife. She said, yeah, it's just been good. He's just been a provider. He never understood me. I've been just keeping busy with kids. So, irony is when I understood all of it, the thing was that the husband had an auditory memory, okay, and the wife had a kinesthetic memory. Kinesthetic is touch and feel, right? So she said, what if he gave me flowers, but he never held my hand and looked into my eyes and told that, okay, I value you, I love you, and that's where flowers matter. And he said, I did whatever I could. I said I love you to her. I gave her flowers. What more I can do? So that's where they're living happily now, by the way. So that's where I made them understand that there's no problem in their relationship. It's just that the gap of communication with each other. So that's where I said you have to understand each other's way of life. That if he is saying something, which means he means it. He's not just saying for the sake of it. And if sometimes you have to correct each other, and you maybe have to take a deep sigh and say, oh, I understand. This is how he is. So this is a very good example, and I felt so good because I could break that barrier between two people. And that's where affirmation, visualization, vision board, they all work wonderfully. But it's not just about saying that I'm a millionaire, I'm a millionaire, I'm a millionaire. It's about, do you think you deserve or you want 1 million also or not, right? Some people are chasing that, oh, Gagan, I want to manifest money. But when I ask them, what is the amount that you're looking for?
Blank.
You're blank. When I say, I want to manifest a relationship, then what kind of relationship are you manifesting? What kind of a guy or a girl are you manifesting? So they pause because they never thought about it. So that's the reason, first of all, for anything to be manifested, you have to get very clear about why do you want it and what are the details around it.
Okay. So that's the framework what you tell your
Yes,
or even for our audience. So the why is very important.
absolutely.
How about the patterns what we're carrying from the back? How are we going to unburden ourselves with that? Because if we carry that, I'm sure I'm not writing what I really. So unburdening myself, that's the first step what we.
I think, yeah, that can go parallelly also. Because I'll tell you my story when 10 years back, when I thought it was all about money, accumulating money, relationships, everything work out if you have enough money. So then when I was writing, it was about that I want X amount of money because this has to be sorted. Then I started getting into relationship. I want this in my partner, right? But yes, I had old patterns which I had to break because I had accumulated patterns for 15 years. And you have to be easy on yourself, right? And that's what I tell people also. If you start this journey, you have to be easy on yourself. Just like going to gym, you went to the gym for a month and you say, oh, I don't have biceps, I don't have that abs, I don't have that zero figure. It's not about that 1 month. It's a constant journey. Similarly, finding out about yourself, your why, breaking your own patterns is a constant journey. It's a lifetime, I think. Because our parents say that, you are so conscious about not having sweets. We at our age, we used to have all those sweets. We never counted calories. Look, we are fit today. So there's so many belief systems which have come into picture, but patterns have to be broken. But yeah, you need to be patient with yourself. It took me 7 years to break my patterns, right? Today also, if somebody is looking at that, okay, I need to get into another relationship. I want to manifest X amount of money. So first of all, you get clear about why. And that why can change after a couple of years also, that's fine. But in this moment, what do you want? Why do you want it? Because you say, I want to buy a BMW 7 Series. Why? Because I have a friend who owns it. Is that a strong why, you tell me? Certainly not. Because you may not like the drive, you don't know about it. Similarly, people are doing in relationships. They don't know the why. Why do you want to be with that X person? He looks good, she looks good. But after a point, it's not about looks, it's about the compatibility. So that's the reason why is important. And then breaking the patterns, yes, it's essential for our own growth over a period of time.
Perfect. So, to start with, so to find that purpose, the why, obviously, it's very deep and we have to get very deep into getting onto that question and again and again. It might be the why is really every day, or we are adding editing every day about it, be it a partner or financer or professional work. When we talk about it, does it start? How does a pattern to life should start to manifest a good life, basically? So, waking up morning, how should we start? What should be the framework towards it?
Okay. So yeah, I think the best way of living a life is, I think we all have a blueprint to our life, right? We all want X amount of things, X amount of experiences. So first of all, creating that blueprint is important. That where do you see your life in 5 years, 10 years, 15 years? What do you actually want? And like you said, the why can keep changing. But you give yourself those 20 days that I will find out what do I want. Because as you will keep asking this question to yourself over and over again, that, okay, do I need that BMW? Why do you need it? Not sure. Then you introspect further. Is this the reason I want it? And take those 15-20 days to find out that why. And then create a blueprint out of your life. That, okay, 10 years down the line, I want to do this. And there's a Harvard study around this also, that in 1940s, they started doing a survey with 100 students in Harvard. They discontinued it last, I think, 10 years back. But what they did, they picked up those group of 100 people from 1940s and they interviewed them every day. And after 50 years, they submitted their research that out of those 100 people, I think 15 were not there in the world. They had moved on and they could not contact 5 or so. But they mentioned that out of those 100 people, when the initial assessment done, the 30 people were very clear about what they want to become in their life. And those 30 people were living exactly the same life that they had written 50 years back, because they were clear about what they want in life. So that's the study which has been done, because that's how the power is. When you know what you want, you are more likely to achieve it. And for a blueprint to have for 10 years, you have to have a blueprint for your daily life, right? So as soon as you wake up, first of all, never pick up your phone.
Point to be noted.
That's in today's world, because when you are going to sleep, when you're waking up, your mind is in a theta state. Theta state, in a simple word, is where your mind is more likely to be trained. You are more likely to change your patterns. And if you remember, as a kid, we used to start early to study, or you were studying late, because that was the time your mind is in theta state and you're more likely to make that change. So as a basic rule, never use your phone an hour or 2 hours before going to sleep, because that impacts your thought patterns, because you're consuming on social media. Somebody is on vacation, or when I go, somebody is driving X car, somebody is in beautiful relationship. So you are feeding yourself that is not needed. So once you wake up, don't pick up your phone. Maybe start saying 5 things that you're grateful for in your life. Because as soon as you wake up, you have another opportunity. Seize the day, right? That's what they say. Seize the day, my friend, because you are grateful that you're alive. There are so many people who do not, 1 million people approximately around the world, they don't wake up from their sleep. So start making a lifestyle of gratitude. As soon as you start your day, maybe sipping a cup of coffee or tea or lemon water. Start saying thank you to the universe or to the water, because you are giving that energy, the positivity. So that sets the tone for your day. And if you are a working person, start your day 15 minutes early than you usually do, because you need to give those 15 minutes with yourself before you get into that whole rush of things, right? And I'm sure 15 minutes is not too much to ask from anybody. You can start putting your calendar, your alarm. Might be after a week you are successful, but that's a change that we need to bring in. So start your day with gratitude. During the day, take small pauses, water you're drinking, coffee you're drinking, have your lunch mindfully, keep your phone aside, understand what your body is saying, what your energy is saying, or become observant about it. And if possible during the day, we listen to so much of content, and that's a good age also right now, that you have affirmations, you have audios, you have podcasts, right? Rather than listening to any music, you listen to any healing frequencies or affirmations, so which will help you train your brain, break the pattern. And then, of course, before going to bed, I recommend, of course, meditation is not everybody's cup of tea, right? Because there's so much happening, but try and do some breathing exercises, which are essential. Because if you look at, and you said, it's all driven by your breath, right? You feel anxious, your breathing goes high. You're feeling low, your breathing goes low. So in today's world, I think our emotions are impacting breathing. But since ancient times, it's about your breathing which was able to get you the maximum results. If you control your breathing, make it a part of your daily life, break the pattern, get your brain to relax a bit more. I think these three things, from a basic perspective, everybody should. And it doesn't take more than 30 minutes in their entire day.
Yeah, not much to ask from your own.
Yes.
You said about a blueprint, the major thing what a lot of people ask. So there's one basic question when I plot down or chalk out or start writing, I want an X amount, or there's some internal talk that starts happening. The doubt builds in.
Yes.
Okay, once here. Is this how do we shun that voice of ours? Because I'm sure. And then we think, okay, because I did not have that frequency, but I do not know how to eradicate that inside, to quieten that voice, to get it out.
Yeah.
Is it normal with everyone?
It's normal to start off with. I think, but today, with the benefit of internet and social media, is that you have the proofs also, the validation that we want, right? I think 20 years back, anybody wanted to be a millionaire, everybody would have joked around it, right? But in 10 years, you've seen entrepreneurs, startups coming in, people earning a lot of money. So there are success stories now, so which can be a good validation point also, right? If you want to, it's about what you're consuming throughout the day. If you want to, for example, I wanted to become a public speaker. So what I was doing, I was listening to public speaking talks, that how people are talking, how to get there. So consuming that. So it was giving me confidence, bit by bit every day. So anybody who thinks, okay, I want to earn, example, 1 CR, and their mind says, oh, no.
How's that possible?
How's it possible? It's such a big amount. That's the reason when I said you make a blueprint for 15 years, 10 years, and 5 years. Because if you look at the whole bit of it, of course, it's overwhelming right? But if you break it out, okay, maybe in 5 years, I want to, save 25 lakh rupees. In 10 years, and of course, you can do things, think of ideas, how can I do that? So that's the reason breaking those goals is super important. Otherwise, if you aim for just that big amount of that big manifestation, you have to break it up into the success stories also, right?
The point is, we derive more from people's failures or negativity around that overrules us. So basically, not seeing at the good chunk of life and say, okay, this has been done by this, and he's not been able to. There's a self-worth or self-doubt, which is...
Yes. I think that's inevitable in the world today. That self-doubt is because ever since childhood, we've been given doubts only, right? I remember I was not very good in English. My teacher said, you're not good in English, you will never get good marks. Believe me, for next 2 years, I was failing badly in that subject because, I got that belief and self-doubt. And then, of course, my sister had to change something, give me some confidence around it, right? We all have such wonderful people. But I think that self-doubt creeps in with everyone. And some people have imposter syndrome also. And that's with celebrities also. That's with, even in it can be with the president and prime minister also. The best of people, right? And perhaps how do you overcome that self-doubt? How quickly you come out of that self-doubt is something that defines success in people's life. If you fumble, as a first-time speaker, I fumbled, but it's not about how many times I fumbled. It's about, did I get back on stage again? So the self-doubt starts to go down. If you keep persisting, if you keep constantly improving, keep constantly giving or try giving your best. And that's, I think the purpose of life is this also in many cases, that you don't give up. Resilience, if somebody wants to help someone, right? There's so many people. You don't need money to help people, right? If you can go to an old age home, spend time with them with half an hour, you are giving something, right? But as we spoke about, it's all people are thinking always on materialistic things. So it's about self-doubts can be broken. Some people can break it through affirmation. Some people can break it through, some other actions. And as you said, manifestation has been ancient, right? Now it is just that if I pick up this cup, right? Law of gravity, I know this will go down. I don't know the formula around it, right? But I know if I drop it, it will go down. So simply, whatever I'm telling to the universe, whatever is manifestation is like that, law of attraction is like that, it's always working, you believe it or not. So that's the reason, always try and, be easy on yourself, enjoy what you are being given right now, be grateful, and start changing that patterns by eradicating that self-doubt.
Perfect. That sounds quite absorbing now. 3 tips. Money is something we all want. How do we write a journal, or how do we classify, categorize? Because at times we hear this is half done, incomplete. That is the reason. What should be the point of fundamentals or the framework you suggest in 3 lines or 3 steps that a financial growth or a professional growth or a job upgradation, what should be that point where I feel like, okay, I've done my job well, I've written it completely.
Okay. So I think writing is only one part of it. One is that you're clear about why do you want it, right? That once you figured that out, then you write about it. The next step is, of course, to first of all think about what are your beliefs around it. Okay. For example, anybody wants to manifest money, right? And since childhood, they've been given a belief. A lot of money leads to a lot of problems. Money doesn't grow on trees. So what is money? It's an energy, right? A piece of paper, a number in your bank account, it's an energy. So if you feel you're abundant in all areas of your life, the money energy will automatically flow to you. But that's, of course, a constant change that we first of all need to understand the concept of energy. That if you don't understand the concept of energy, you think, no, money is everything. Don't tell me energy, Gagan. Tell me how to make money, right? For that, of course, get very clear about what is your goal. Why do you want that money? And of course, you have to take chances, right? It's not just about writing in a journal and sitting idle. So law of attraction says attract plus action. That's what attraction is about. You have to try things. You have to maybe do 20 things. Maybe 1 will work out. Maybe the first 5 will work out. But finding that why and then writing that and trusting and surrendering to the universe rather than saying, let's try this. You have to have some conviction around it. If you say, okay, I'll write it, I'll try. So try means what? You go to a shopping mall, you try it. No? You don't have intention to buy it. If it suits me, I'll buy it. So people are living in a world of trial, right?
Where is the denial now?
It's a denial, right? Or it's a trial that, oh, maybe this works out. You buy this subscription, try for 30 days, then you pay. But the universe is not working on trial. It is just like it has so much to offer. The life has so much to offer. It's just that you want to go to an ocean and fill this cup, you can fill this cup. But if you want to go to ocean with a bucket, you can fill that bucket also. But most of us are going with, this amount of, to get from the ocean of the universe. So tips are that, first of all, get very, very clear about what do you want, take action, okay? And yes, upgrade your goals, upgrade your own self, even if you want to do a job, you want to do a business, because what you get paid for is your skill. People think they're getting paid for their time. It's about the skill. So are you upgrading your skills every year? Or doing the same thing over and over and over again, you expect a better job or better business? That's not going to happen.
So you said affirmation is only one thing. Yeah. Besides that, what are other channels we can, just embrace in ourselves or just activate? And when we even say about affirmation, one affirmation, if we can tell our audience on a complete from the start to the end, that you should, okay, the X amount and everything varies, it's a variable, but that is how it completes, and rest all other therapies or all other alternate ways we can do.
I think one affirmation everybody should do is just call it I am enough. Okay. Because what is this chase about, Survi? Because we don't feel enough. Affirmation everybody should do is I am enough. What is this all chase about, Survi? Because if I get that car, if I get that vacation, I will feel enough, right? But life is about feeling first, and then that will manifest. If you always start saying with start of that, I am enough, I am capable, I am abundant, this will start to change your frequency and energy. Because if you already feel enough, then you're not chasing, then you're enjoying the journey of life. So that's the first affirmation everybody should do. It's not very complicated, because maybe after 5 days, after 10 days, you feel, yeah, I'm actually enough. Your body language will change, right? I'm enough. Yes, everything that I need is there with me. And if you feel enough, universe will give you enough. And that's the reason you see so many people who don't need enough money or relationships, they are being bombarded with those opportunities because they think they're enough. And that feeling of self-worth and feeling of, that I'm already enough, that manifestation or XYZ achievement, it'll be a feel-good factor, but it will not complete me.
Correct.
This is a small thing, but I think people will want to rewind and listen to this again. But I think whatever we're doing is to feel enough.
When you say enough is in all aspects of life, contented?
Yes. I have enough money, I have enough love, I have enough good health. So that's what the self-talk is about.
Does it contradict if you're not on that state to what you desire? No?
But yeah, if you are, for example, if you're living, you can start with one area of life, right? You can say that, okay, I'm healthy. If you are manifesting money, but first of all, you have to start accepting and acknowledging that you're enough healthy, you're enough happy, you're enough relationships, then you keep manifesting money. But what is happening? People are feeling, oh, I don't have enough money, I don't have enough love. So what if doing you're not taking care of rest of the three things which are there? Because enough love will lead to enough money, enough health will lead to enough relationships. So it is all interconnected. That's the reason we say it's all a circle of life. That's the reason, somebody who's 20 years old, they have a relationship, they have time, but they don't have money. When they get into 30s, they don't have enough time, they have money, they don't have relationship. When you get older, you have time and money, you don't have your kids around you, right? So it's about circle of life. You have to start feeling enough already. And yes, manifestation will keep happening. And we are running this race, right? I was manifesting 10 years back, I'm manifesting now, I will be manifesting 10 years back down the line. But in last 10 years or today, right now, do I feel enough grateful? Yes, I absolutely feel grateful that I'm alive, I'm able to share my thoughts. And I think that's enough to start off with.
That's the habit. So with enough, it is important to have that sense of gratitude and gratefulness.
Yes.
To however your life is moving in what direction.
Because that's what interconnected, right? If you're not grateful, you'll not feel enough. If you're enough, you'll feel grateful. Or otherwise, you will be sitting in a 5-bedroom mansion and you still feel there's something pending. If this happens, that will be like eureka moment of my life. No, the eureka moment of the lives are already happening. Every moment is a eureka moment. If and that's how we need to uncomplicate life. Very simple thing. If you look at a kid, right, maybe a 1-year toddler, and they smile at you, right? You don't know them. They're smiling at you. Doesn't it make your day better? It makes my day better, right? So that's the eureka moment. You don't need money. I think apart from affirmations, it's always about, in practical terms, applying your skills, right? And today's world, there's so many ways that you can apply it. It's, again, some people are lazy around it. Manifestation is not for lazy people. I'll be very honest about it. Manifestation only helps people who are ready to take action, right? If you want to become a millionaire, if you want to have X amount of your money, you need to network, you need to talk to people, you need to learn communication skills also, you need to have interpersonal skills also, right? Because and that's the reason they say that, if you are stuck in an elevators, have you prepared your elevator speech? The idea around it is, if you're stuck with Mukesh Ambani in an elevator and you're stuck there and you don't have anything to talk to him, because that can be your life-changing moment. You might say, oh, I have this idea and I need your support or just your guidance. But if you're not prepared enough, you're not looking forward to such moments, you will waste that moment. Or somebody who's smart enough, they can leverage that moment. And there's so many living proofs nowadays. Perhaps that's the reason what we are not doing, we're not taking action. I was listening to a prominent podcaster some other day in India, and he said, I sent 200 emails to people when I started. And none of my friends, none of my family members responded and decided to come on my podcast. But he said there were people after 200 emails, they started responding, and I never gave up, because he knew that the value I will provide and the money is following. And for money to follow into your life, you have to think, what value are you bringing onto the table?
For people's lives.
Yeah, for people's life, for business idea, anything. Because money is energy. Energy comes to you when you're providing value. If you're in a job, what value are you providing? If you're in a compliance, in a cybersecurity, you're providing value of that specific skill set, which is, not with everyone. That's the reason you get paid. Similarly, if you want to earn money, you want to manifest money, you have to think of, am I adding value to this? Am I adding value to somebody's life? Because most of the money people are making is by solving a problem.
Yeah, the scarcity and the abundance thing comes there by restricting them to give.
Yes. So it's about idea sharing. It's about, bringing your own consciousness alive. That I want to manifest money, but I want to make a mark in this world. You can have 1 crore rupees and then still feel empty, not enough.
It's a very well said, everything starts with it. But I was listening to a famous podcast the other day, and different alternate ways to do it through water.
Yes.
Putting up energy in the water, sipping that water. How much does that count? Are these also effective?
Yes, I was about to talk about it. For example, if you look at water, the simplest way, you don't have enough time, right? You are having a sip of water or a cup of coffee. Just say, thank you for healing me. Thank you for bringing abundance into my life. One thing is, water has a power, and 70% of our water in this planet is water, right? Our body is water. So when you energize this water, that's the reason you go to holy places, you get, holy water from there, because that's been so charged up. And that has been scientifically proven also. There is the Japanese doctor, Dr. Isaru Moto, and he did test with the water. For some water, ice cubes, he said, I hate you, I hate you, I hate you. I said, I am abundant, thank you for making me healthy. So he did that experiment with 10 different sentences. And then he, under the microscope, he looked at the crystals of the water. The one which was said, I love you, had beautiful crystal shape coming in under the microscope. And one, he said, I hate you, it was distorted water. So that's the reason when you say, I thank you, you're drinking this water, that charging is happening, the water will change your cells, your atomic levels. Eventually, you are energy beings. So if you consume this energy, okay, of course it's going to help. Other ways of manifesting money is, of course, giving of it. That you will start giving also. If you are earning 100 rupees, start giving 10 rupees to somebody, because the energy of money is about abundance. It's about flow. It's not about accumulating. So if you are earning 1 lakh rupees, try and give away 5,000, because your own subconscious will also know that I'm not doing it for myself, I'm doing it for the people also. Of course, I talk about grab away codes also, which are, again, you can use couple of codes, which are, for example, 520741. And again, these are scientifically proven because the numbers have frequency. So when you chant these numbers, 520741, and I add 808 also to it, so that changes the frequency at your cellular level.
Just keep chanting and
Chanting. Yeah, you can write it on your wrist, on a non-dominant hand, maximum for people left hand. So you can use it because these are alternative to the same. But it's not just about again writing that number or drinking that water. And again, building your relationship with money, healing your money wounds, affirmations definitely work. Visualizing the life that you want. Most of the celebrities and athletes have visualized their life over and over and over again. And Usain Bolt is like the fastest sprinter. Olympics comes once in 4 years, but he practices winning that race for 4 years in his mind as an outcome that I am winning the race. This is what is happening. So start visualizing the life that you want, because eventually by earning that money, what do you want to have? You want to have a big house, drive a fancy car, have a good family. So start visualizing that, because your mind is so powerful and it does not distinguish between true and false. To give an example, Survi, you go to a movie hall, right? You watch a scary movie, right? And you're scared.
And you always have those.
Because for those 2.5 hours, you're sitting in a black room and you're consuming that. So brain does not know it's true or false, but you're getting scared. If you see a happy moment, you laugh. If you like the music, you chant the song. But your brain does not know it's true or false. It's just representing what's being shown on the visuals, right? So you can create your own story. You can create your own vision of what kind of life that you want to live. And that's, I think, the most powerful one is that, because we anyhow visualize worst case scenarios, right? So it's about changing that energy from worry to creation of that outcome.
When they talk about visualization, what all things should we keep in mind of creating that story and having that conviction, basically? Somewhere, I don't know whether it's right or wrong, but point is that we create a story, but the conviction is less. To say it with that this has happened, I again get into that chaos and that things to surround me. So how can we get that conviction if I want a good relationship? So how am I creating? Or if I want a job enhancement, development, or a next great job, how do I visualize it? What should be the main parameters of following?
Okay. So look, everything end of the day is in our life is about feeling, right? You want to buy that car because you want to feel good. You want to do that job because you want to feel great about it. And the script is so amazing that you start feeling that emotion right now and you connect with the outcome directly. Okay, for example, you want to manifest that job. Close your eyes, visualize you're holding that job offer letter and the feeling that is getting generated. Okay, and of course it comes with practice, right? For some people, depending on the subconscious, might take 11 days, 21 days, 33 days, 45 days. But it's again about practice. Just like going to gym, you don't build those because you're building your mind muscles, which have been dead for so long because we have been chasing things. So visualization is important, and you get into that feeling, emotional, and behavior also. If you want to become a visualizer, becoming a millionaire, you have to think what behavior I need to then have as a millionaire, as a part of your personality. So the version of this may not be matching that version of millionaire. So you have to start changing your behavior also, right? And there was this example I heard. Then the Dhirubhai Ambani, right? When he used to earn 500 rupees, in the initial stages, he used to go to Taj and have tea for 250 rupees. His whole monthly salary by one coffee. But somebody was joking that, he's such a stupid guy. He earns every month and then spends 250 there. He said, no, the energy I get sitting in that coffee shop, because there are people talking about ideas. I see how, rich people are talking, how they are walking, what is their behavior, how do they feel about it. And hence, he could envision that for himself. So feeling, emotions, behavior and action These are all 4 part, very important part of the visualizations. You feel that, okay, how I'm feeling picking up that trophy as a cricketer or footballer. What is the feeling when you have that job? What is the feeling when you're driving that car with your partner or the love of your life? So yes, get clear about, detailed about it. The movie is made like this, right? The story writer just give the concept, then they they write so many pages around it.
Colors, they put it as character.
Yes.
And they add good and bad moments, there's songs to it, and
Absolutely.
so if I have to manifest my podcast to be on that level, it is renowned or number one we say. So we start envisioning it. I start thinking about it, creating a story about living onto it, reading onto it, putting that energy. That's
Yeah, absolutely. For example, we live the outcome, right? That this is the process that we're going through, right? The process will continue. We start visualizing, okay, we're getting awarded as the best podcast. We are speaking to other prominent podcast hosts that you imbibe from, right? So you are studying around it. I'm studying around how to, share that. So living the outcome is very important in that case. And that's where, and as I keep giving examples of celebrities, cricketers, athletes, because they live the outcome. How would they feel when they pick up the trophy? And hence, when they actually achieve it, they feel more happy about it, because that's how I thought. This is exactly what I lived it.
Yeah. So it's said that we win first in the mind and then we win the world.
Yes. And today, it's a living proof for everybody. Last time I took a flight, right, I was not worried about who the pilot is. Does he have enough skills? No, because I know the airplane, goes well. But 120 years back, Wright brothers, they were manifesting. And one of the brother, after so many failed attempts, tells another brother, will we be able to do this? The younger brother said, we have already done this. I already have that vision that this is a flying airplane. We just have to find out the right dynamics and mechanics to make this work. So today, you and I travel effortlessly. We're more worried about the price hikes than the quality of the aircraft, because we know this works. So somebody's manifestation 120 years back is our living proof. People are watching us across the world, through a small cell phone or a Wi-Fi connected TV. We don't know how Wi-Fi works. Yeah.
I agree there, and that's very, very profound to, imbibe it in our life. That certainly it is. There's nothing called unrealistic.
Yes.
So if you really want to have unrealistic, there are realistic things. It's just your action which is required.
Absolutely.
And keeping your alignment and attunement to what you feel, say, and do. One thing, gratefulness is something what we've not spoken much. Even in the hard days of life, I've seen a lot of people cribbing, nagging on that. What should I be grateful of life? This has happened to me.
Yeah.
When your vitamin G comes from gratitude, is this a right concept or we should look at the better chunk of it?
I think nobody's stopping us to think bigger, or to achieve more, right? The idea of whole concept of what I'm trying to say is that, yes, we all deserve everything, right? We are enough, But first of all, are you truly grateful for what you are really right now? Maybe the past failure, the past relationship that did not work out has made you a better person today. You have to acknowledge that, right? 10 years back when I went through that phase of depression, it has shaped up the person I've become today. So I'm grateful for that version also, rather than complaining to the universe or God that why did this happen to me? So that helped me grow a bit, right? So concept of gratitude is super important, and it's been for ages. If you're not grateful for what you already have, a simple concept is, if you look at Subhi, that I realized it in the COVID days. I'll give you an example what happened, that in our society there is a supermart. So I went down, it was like after COVID, little bit after COVID. So I grabbed 2 chocolates, okay? And I came out, after buying, and I saw 2 kids playing in the society. And of course, same tower, I knew them. Then I said, okay, I offered them chocolates, So one of the kid looked at his mother and he came, her mother said, oh, go take it, this guy. So he came rushing to me, with excitement, with a lot of smile, and he took the chocolate, give me a flying kiss and said thank you, and he went away. There was the second kid, he was hesitant. Okay, and he looked at his mother, and his mother said, go and take chocolate from the uncle. And he came hesitantly, he took the chocolate, he turned around, his mother said, say thank you. He said, thank you. I couldn't even hear it. Okay. After, I think, couple of weeks, I again went for the grocery shopping, and I accidentally picked up just one chocolate, and I again saw that those two kids were playing again. And since it was that untouchable phase, so I could not break and give it to two of them, right? So I gave it to one of the child. What do you think, which child would have given that chocolate to?
Somebody who was already excited to come and pick it.
Absolutely. And I gave it, and when I got to my home, I realized, was I being biased? And that's where I connected. That, Gagan, are you the first child or the second child? And I noticed that, yeah, I am mostly the first child. Sometimes I'm second child, or vice versa. But if universe or God is watching me, will God give more to the first child or to the second child? If a human, I can be biased. So the idea is that the gratitude, that excitement of having it, relishing what you already have, will bring you more, because you are sending that energy and vibrations to the universe that you value what you already have. And hence the abundance loop starts.
That's wonderful. It's a very, it's an example which you can be absorbed in a very simple manner. Yeah, it's the joyfulness, it's the excitement, it's the way of life, it's the perspective of life that molds your life.
Absolutely.
And that's how things are manifested. Law of attraction works. When we say affirmations really work, but it is only the point with what mode are we doing it.
Absolutely. If you are not grateful for what you are today, tomorrow you have 1 crore in your bank account, you will not be grateful. And if you're not grateful, you're not in that abundant state. And you will always say, there's something missing. There's something missing in my life. I don't know what it is. And hence that's the reason they say that there's no guarantee you will be rich and happy. You can be poor and happy, but that's what they are limiting their minds to, that they don't want to become rich, or they don't have that mindset. So it's about that reason gratitude is super important. But that's not to stop you from not manifesting more. It's the awareness.
It's only being grateful to what you are.
Yeah.
Keep working to a bigger, better destination.
Absolutely. That's right.
Wonderful, Gagandeep. It was insightful.
Thank you.
It was deep. Though these things, when come up cumulatively, it clears up a lot of chaos around you. Because we keep carrying, accumulating. It's like a magnet. But discussions, conversations like this, they just regard them. We again come up with the same motivation and take our life on a better stand. I feel grateful to like what we do.
Absolutely.
It was lovely having
Thank you for having me.
for Greece.
Thank you for this wonderful conversation. Thank you, everyone.